Hello, hello. What is going on, chat? How are you guys tonight? Look at this view here. Let's do that one's pretty good. What's this one? There we go. Look at that. Hell yeah. I swear we're gonna learn StreamYard eventually. I promise. How are you guys? Thanks for coming to hang out tonight. Should be a lot of fun. Some good conversation tonight. Looks like a decent amount of you guys in chat ahead of time, which is awesome. I did put a poll up on the Bitcoin halving, however you say it. We'll get Ben's opinion here in a minute on how he pronounces it. But yeah, what's going on, guys? Second TL coming in early. Dakota Miner, Crypto Hunter, K-Trim, 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐧𝐠, John English Tech, Nick Riley is here. Watch out. Rarrayless is here. Patrick Murphy, what's up, man? You finally got a chance to finish up that interview Andy did. Yeah, it was really good. Andy from, I think you're talking about Andy from 𝐒𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬, or are you talking about your friend Andy, the podcast interview I did while I was at Cypherpunk? That was really cool too. Hanging out with him. All Set is here. What's up, brother? Crypto Craig, how are you doing, man? How's Virginia? Patrick Murphy, Rich Borgia is here. Hello, hello. Travelers Travels here. K-Trim, Kyle Rosa, So What is here. Hey, man, how are you? We got a chance to meet at Cypherpunk. That was awesome. Automatic Beats, Tim, I Am Crypto, Gonzo Miner. Oh, Gonzo. We have something to open up real quick. So I don't want to hold up Ben too much because he is in the lobby. But we got a box here. And it shows his address, so I won't show it too much there. We'll do it this way. But I got a care package. If anybody wants my P.O. box, please just let me know. It's nothing secretive. You guys can send stuff too, which would be cool. But he sent this to me, and it was a massive headache. He said, we had issues with the postmaster. It went to the wrong person. It does say fragile, so I don't want to break it. But I completely forgot I was going to open this today. I probably should have started a little bit sooner. And then I saw Gonzo in chat. Oh my God, how much tape is on this thing? There we go. We got it. Overboard Tech, what's up, brother? It's a pleasure meeting you at Cypherpunk. I got to catch up with Chad here. New England's here. What's up, man? Webb's Data Center. Yeah, Ironfish. How about Ironfish and the new Algo? This is going to be interesting. We'll have to see if this brings some love back to the us GPU miners. What is up there, Geek of all trades? All right, so I opened up this side. We got a packet. What is this thing? Sorry, that might be loud for you guys. This is some type of little clicker. It looks like it's got like an adapter on it. Let's see here. Okay, it's a plug with an adapter. I think it goes to whatever this is. That's supposed to be fragile. Ooh, check it out. Gonzo Miner stickers. That's pretty sweet. But what is this? Oh, we're gonna make our boy Ben a little jealous here. Check out this custom-made Bitcoin LED sign. Oh, you bet your ass I'm turning this on real quick here. So the goal is not to drop it live on stream. Not gonna pull a jingle mining. All right, so I don't know what is that thing? I don't know what that is. It's like, what is that? I don't know. Okay, that is sick. Yo, should we plug this in real quick? Does this blue come off? Is this like that glass stuff that you peel off? I gotta scroll down and check if Gonzo. I think that's like that plastic you pull off. Let's see here. Let's see. I think this, it does come off. All right, cool. Hang on. Oh yeah. Oh shit. This is gonna look awesome in the office. All right, let me plug this in real quick. Ben's like, you motherfucker, making me wait. God damn it. It's past his bedtime. All right, so I guess this goes into here, goes into here, goes into here. All right, here we go. We're gonna toss some lights. Hang on, we're gonna turn off this other light too. This is content right here, people. There we go. Hang on. All right, let's turn this sucker on. Whoa! Damn, that's really bright. That is crazy bright on stream. Let's see here. Put it up here. Nope, that's bright as hell. Down here, there we go. There we go. Look at that. That is sick. I don't know why the camera makes that look bright as shit. It's not that bright, I promise. That's crazy. All right, let me turn this back together. We'll get Ben in here. Gonzo, this thing is awesome. I think I'm gonna put it like over here. Oh, that helps out. There we go. Look at that. That helps out a little bit. Check that out. That is sick. I'm gonna put that on my office wall. That'll be really nice. Gonzo, thank you very much, brother. Let me clean this up real quick. All right. Put my light back on. Dim it. I dimmed it all the way. Absolutely. All right, let's add in our boy here.
Hey, I am jealous about that.
Oh, hell yeah. There we go. What's up, Ben? How are you, brother?
What's good? How are y'all? I am jealous about that. I do love that. That's awesome.
All right, let me turn my music down a little bit. I'm going to turn you down. You're fine. You don't have to do anything. All right. We're going to turn you down a little bit. All right, Ben, how are we doing today?
Good. Y'all okay?
Oh, that's perfect. Sounds good. So, guys, if you're not familiar with Ben, Ben is from Immersion BTC. If you guys remember the immersion mining facility I visited back in Arkansas several months back, Ben is one of the founders there. And Ben and I, where else do we go? Where else did I see you? Mining Disrupt. That's right. Yeah. So we had a great time, which was cool. So thanks for coming to hang out with me tonight and talk Bitcoin.
All day, every day, man. Let's do it.
I know. This man lives and breathes it, people. I'm telling you. Don't you have a tattoo? He's got a tattoo right there.
Right there.
Hell yeah.
Chat, hey, Chris, how are you? Geek, what's up?
Yeah, guys, let me know if his audio is too loud or anything like that. I just adjusted it. It was a little loud, so I turned it down, which will be good. So we're going to talk Bitcoin tonight. I thought he would be a perfect guest to come on as a mining farm operator, a guy that was running Bitcoin ASICs, kind of get his opinion on just kind of the S21, on the halving coming up, on just where we are with Bitcoin right now. So you want to give these guys a little bit of a rundown as to your facility if they haven't seen my immersion mining video?
Yeah, sure. So I own Immersion BTC. We operate a 3.5 megawatt farm out of Jonesboro, Arkansas. We're a self-mined facility. We do our own immersion containers. We also own a company called Blockchain Construction. We just finished a 7 megawatt air site on the other side of the state. And I'm looking at my board right now, we have potentially about 115 megawatts of construction fixing to go under contract and working on it. So just staying busy down here and keep building out this network and this community.
Yeah, well, I think it's really interesting. Like right now during the current market, it's really rough. Like I've talked to all walks of life, different events I've been to regarding I find a lot of people are expanding right now and growing. If they set themselves up correctly, they're growing right now. And if they didn't, they're stressing right now. But what I'm finding is that's definitely the case. I did put a link in chat, guys, to the facility that I went and toured with Ben. That's one of 3 videos I did with him. So you guys can go check it out if you're interested, which is good. I like the comment. Is a megawatt bigger than a gigawatt? That's right. Back to the future there. But So I guess you guys are mining right now, and what ASICs are you guys currently running at the farm currently?
We have a mix of JPros, 100 and 104 terahash, and then we're running M50s also.
So you did get, and I'm just gonna pour my beer here while we're talking.
Yeah.
I call this my ASMR on stream. You know, people get to listen to it. So you did end up getting the M50s in. Last you and I had spoke, you guys did not. And that was prior to that.
Yeah, we're doing the M50s in our other containers, and it's they're going well. The what miners seem to hold up stronger, not much less of a diva, as you know, than the Bitmain and the S19s, it seems like.
Well, I think the nice thing is, sorry, I'm cleaning up beer off my desk. I spilled, you know, I'm a child here, not allowed to have alcoholic beverages. For you guys, I guess you went with the M50s more in your containers because of density. Is that correct? And or was it also price?
Well, density and a few things. When we're running immersion, you know, we have to have a firmware, and that takes off a little bit of our margins. So with WhatsMiner, you can do an air to liquids tool, which is free, and you can put it in high power mode. Yep, you can put it in high power mode, and there's no dev fees or anything else like that. So you don't have to worry about the firmware taken away from your fees.
Yeah, for those of you guys that aren't familiar, like with ASICs, now if you're thinking about it, 1 or 2, not a big deal. But if you're running hundreds of these, you have to think about it. Like when you go to third-party firmware, there's a fee with that. It's not outright. You don't see it outright, but there's actually a fee when you're mining type of deal on those. So you pay a fee on those. And then on top of that, then you might have a pool fee too. So like by the time you even get a chance to mine, you've already paid 2 people. So I think you guys going, you know, that's a really cool idea to, you know, especially with like Bitmain doesn't make it easy. Like it's not very easy with Bitmain Rights Factory to go ahead and like immerse them. You do, you know, you have to make some changes. I mean, I think that's for me. I got myself my fog hashing immersion kit, and I'm excited to get that going here at home.
Good. They're great.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's literally sitting right outside my door here. I'm ready. And but for that, I'm probably gonna run like Brains and Luxor. But I'm running 2. Like I'm running 2. I'm not as concerned, but if I'm running hundreds, it definitely is a big difference there. I think Sarah Smith is a big fan of yours in chat, by the way.
My sister.
Hi, I'm on the TV.
Hey, I made it. No, so even thinking about like a home miner, right? Like in this bear market, I mean, every margin matters. Whether I feel like you're small or large, any margin that you get to keep is more Bitcoin in your pocket. And then if you extrapolate that to the future, who knows what it's worth when it's $100,000.
Oh, I get it. I get it here.
That 1%, 2%, 3% makes a difference in the future.
Yeah. What firmware are you guys running on your S19s?
Hive. So
Hive,
we just had the Hive team here today doing a tour of the facility.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah. Their new CEO,
James. Did Keaton visit the facility?
No.
Okay. Keaton lives like 10 minutes from me. That's why I asked.
No, it was the lead Eeyore, which is kind of like I think he's the lead, you know, Eeyore. Yeah. And the new CEO James was here.
Okay.
The 2 co-founders were here, and Andre, who's some energy expert guy talking about curtailment.
I met him. He has an accent, right?
Yeah, well, they all have an accent.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Well, yeah. So do you. But yeah, he has a really.
That's right. Don't we all?
I met him at Mining Disrupt, and I guess and I don't know all the details, but they're finding a method to like help companies sell back energy or whatever. How exactly does that work?
Yeah. So it depends on where you're at. Like we're in a regulated market, like most of the United States is. But if you're in a deregulated market, during high peak demand, if the utilities doesn't have the power to produce to meet that demand, they have to buy it on the MISO market. So they're buying it from other utilities throughout the state. And you know, Giant or any Bitcoin farm is acting as a virtual peaker plant or a virtual battery, right? So when excess consumption is there, when excess power is there, it's meant to be consumed. And then when the demand is there, we can turn down and feed back to the grid, and that's a way to, act as a power plant that's not really a power plant. Or
yeah, because I was gonna say you're not producing the power, you're just traditionally consuming it. Like
That's right.
if you imagine your miners and the power usage as a flat line that goes across, and then you guys decide to cut down it. Okay, that consumption isn't there anymore, so it's readily available. So that's something that Hive is actually working on. They have a program, right, to help you with that.
Hive on Energy is what they're calling it. I'm a big fan of Hive. They came out with a new OS today, or they're coming out with a new OS. We've demoed it today. Looks great.
That's cool.
So, I mean, I've tried them all. I've been through all the firmwares, and I enjoy Hive. But I mean, Brains is good too, and Vanish. They're all good. It's just a matter of what you like. I'm an old GPU miner, so I'm real familiar with Hive.
That a boy. Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, I mean, I actually have Brains right now. I have an old S9 that I tore out of that heat bit unit that I had issues with, and I put Brains on that, and I'm just gonna I haven't put it in my new shed yet, but I'll just be solo mining with that and just use Brains and crank it down to like, I want 300 watts, and bam, Brains will make sure that I'm using 300 watts, and it gives me whatever hash rate I want for solo mining with it. Yeah, I think there's definitely some different usability for the different software, and you kind of find what works best for you, which I think makes sense, which is really, really good. So cool. So let's talk a little bit about the S21 here. Let me go ahead. Let's bring that up.
That efficiency is great looking.
I know, right? All right, cool. So here we are on Bitmain's website here, and there's a few surprises actually for me with this. So when you heard they were coming out with the S21, we'll look at air-cool. They do have hydro, but neither of us are set up necessarily for that. So 200 terahash, 3,500 watts. What was your first thoughts on that when that was announced?
Well, I'll take a step back. As an immersion guy, I thought we kind of was getting close to our limit of
overclocking,
the efficiencies, right? Of like,
the
nanometer the size of the chip. Like, I was thinking, man, surely we can't get any better than what we're getting at. So they've definitely proven us wrong there. What was it, like 17.5 joules or something like that?
Yeah,
I mean, that's just crazy. So one thing in the industry people have been kind of concerned about is building out new farms. Do they go with air, or do they go with immersion or hydro? Right? It's obviously cheapest is air. And if you would have asked me a few weeks ago, or months ago before this was coming out, and we knew anything about it, I'd been like, man, I think we're at our limits. But Bitmain surprised us again and just tearing it up out there. So more power.
Yeah, I mean, I was really surprised about, I think, the hash rate for the watts. I mean, when I think about 200 terahash, I'm like, okay, take anything you have now and overclocking it, especially with like immersion, which you and I have talked about when I was down there, and it was like, great, but you're pushing 5,000 plus watts. You're looking at different power supplies, things like that. And now they come out with the new chip here, and you're now 2,000 terahash or 200 terahash at 3,500 watts, which is, I think, awesome. The big thing for me is finding out the pricing on these things. Have you heard the pricing on these things?
I have not yet.
You ready for this? You ready? Yeah. $3,800.
Really?
Can you believe it? So
$3,800.
$3,800.
Okay,
here's my theory. All right, go ahead. What do you got? What are your thoughts?
Okay, $3,800, and it's an L7 moment, and we get them 6 months after we were supposed to get our batch in. Is that what we're gonna have?
You see. Well, yeah. I mean, I was talking to a guy. He's actually tomorrow putting in his order for 100 S21s that they're going with here. And what I find to be really interesting is the fact of, like, let's think about this. If they came out with the S21 and they said it was 20 grand or whatever, like something crazy, or let's say 10. Let's say 10. 10's more reasonable right now in the current market. 10 grand or a little less. You would hesitate a tiny bit as a mining farm operator. But I've talked to several mining farm operators that are like, we're thinking about flipping hardware, because for $3,800, it's like stupid. You know what I mean? Like, do we need to flip our hardware to keep up with the halvening, right? Same thing. Let's say you're running a farm of 100 terahash each, and now here's something that you can kind of sustain that. But I love to hear from you as a mining farm operator, hearing the price, seeing the efficiency, seeing the hash rate. Where does your head go about this?
Well, when I first got into this, I was always like, oh my God, I got to get as much terahash as I can get, right? Like the terahash is key. What I've learned is it's the efficiency that's key, not the terahash, right? So we've been on our S19s underclocking for the last 2 months.
Okay.
Because we're getting an efficiency of about 20 joules a terahash right now, but underclocking with Hive on our J Pros. I mean, I'm getting 86 terahash at 17, almost 1800 watts. So, I mean, that's
really good. Now, interesting. So you're
in immersion.
So tell me about that a little bit. So for me, I can go in and I can look at my setup and see, like, I'm running low power mode on several of my 100s. I think the same units you have. So why are you getting so much less wattage than I would on air versus the immersion? Or is that OS bound? What operating system?
Hive. Yeah.
Damn, I'm changing. I got to put that in place.
I mean, I hate to say that to other folks, but it's Hive. And then, of course, we don't have fans running. We don't have PSU fans. Yeah. So there's a few things that are making a little difference, but
that's minimal. You're talking like 100 watts or something like that. You're talking even less than that.
But every little watt counts. But yeah, so I'm getting the same efficiency on a J Pro. I can go out here and get a used J Pro for $1,100-$1,200, something like that. And
I was seeing that. Honestly, I was seeing that. I was looking at. I'm a part of like all these different Telegram groups.
Right.
Kaboom Racks has some of them for sale for like $600.
Yeah, I mean,
crazy.
Condition-wise, we'll see what it is.
Oh yeah, correct. Yeah, what does that look like when it gets to your door?
$600, and you get half a hash board working. But
True.
yeah.
True.
So okay, $1,000 I'm paying for a J Pro, right? And I put it in, and I get the same efficiency as an XP right now. So
yeah.
I mean, hey, it's pretty good, right? And you can do it, and you can underclock in air. The problem with air is overclocking, not underclocking. So you can do the same thing in air and really squeeze out that efficiency. I was going from making like on overclocking, I was making like after my power cost was like $2 a day or something per unit.
Okay, sure.
And then at its normal mode, I was making like $2.15 or something like that. And then now when I started underclocking, I'm making like $3.25. So I'm making significantly more Bitcoin. And then that was like the aha moment. I was like, oh my gosh, it doesn't matter how much terahash I put in. It matters my efficiency. So, but I mean, 200 terahash and whatever that wattage is there. Amazing.
3,500 is where. And the interesting thing is with like Bitmain too is like they say 3,500, but yet like I always do everything at the wall. So like I'm testing everything at the wall, everything I have, and like everything is always 100 or 200 watts more at the wall, like versus what they're advertising at. Now I know it does come down to what your electric is. For me, it's just 240. But yeah, so that's something that always amazes me too. We're like, what are you running at that you're saying it's 3,500 watts?
That's at 5% either way. Right?
That plus or minus they always add in there type of deal.
They add on there.
Yeah. It's so interesting to hear because like I think you and I were talking at one point about like efficiency and low power mode, and I've been running that in my second shed just in order to be able to keep within the electric I have. That's one of my limitations is like, all right, I only have X amount of electric. So as I add more ASICs, it's like, okay, I mean, during the bear market, it's easy. I can go ahead and crank some of these down to low power mode and it makes sense, especially when you start doing the math and stuff like that. But saying some of the things you're saying, it's like, all right, I tried out Hive's OS a little while back, kind of gave up on it, had some challenges with it, but now I'm like, damn, like if I got half of my stuff on low power mode and you're telling me I can get lower watts, but keep some of the existing efficiencies, I'm like, damn, like that is really good, which is, I think, awesome. So I'm going to keep that in mind as we move forward here. So What do you think that these S21s are going to do to the market, or should I say the industry, like yourself, as a mining farm operator? Because here's the thing: the timing's insane. Especially, Bitmain's not done. They're not done. They got the halving coming up here soon.
So I would say that the question is not what's it going to do; it's what it is doing. Okay. If I think we'd be kind of oblivious to sit around and not think that they're not pre-mining these, right? So are they the reason we're seeing such a high hash rate every week? We turn around, new all-time high on the hash rate, right? Yeah. So I don't know if it's going to affect the market so much, because they're just going to unplug those machines and send them out and batch them out, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm not really, that's right, Patrick. I'm not really concerned about it with it, because I think we're feeling the effects right now. Yeah.
Sorry, I laughed about the second half of that. He's like, I'm not concerned about the halving. I'm concerned that you haven't had the grimace yet. Yeah. Right. I get it. Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. So, I've been chatting more and more with different farm operators, and there's definitely some concern there when it comes down to halving, because of where the price is. It's definitely reflective of the price of Bitcoin, because you got to think of it like let's say the halving happens tomorrow, right? You're now instantly making half of the Bitcoin you were making. And the price, where is that price at? So I think everyone is leveraging on the fact of, the price of Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Like, that's the big one. Like here's a great example. It happens tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Where does that put you guys with the price of Bitcoin right now, staying at 27.4 right now?
I mean, same place as everybody else at half, right? But
yep, that's true.
But I was reading the statistics the other day that 24% of the ASIC market at 1% at 1 cent a kilowatt hour, if price of Bitcoin doesn't move, hash rate stays the same, and the halving happens today. Yep. 24% of the hash rate will go away, because they're no longer at 1 penny, they're no longer profitable. So, I mean, I know at my price, we're gonna continue on like we're too far in, right? I've got a tattoo. We're too far in.
You're committed. Tattoo's on, folks. He's committed. We're done.
So I'm kind of hanging my hat on that 24% not being me. And so you go. And so if that happens, that's a 24% increase to my profits.
Sure, I think it's a good avenue to go with it.
Maybe it's not instant. Maybe I have to weather the storm for a few months, but that's why bear market is essential for planning for the bull market, right? Yeah. Like, this is where the money's made, in the bear market.
No, I get it 100%. I mean, I think that some of the challenge is like setting yourself up in the bear market for the bull market, but then also this too. Like, are you prepared? Are you set up, in that regard? I mean, you could shop electric as much as you want, and you can move your facility, as much as you want to chase the electric rate. But at the same time, I do believe exactly as you're saying. It's like you may have to, that first few months after is going to be interesting, because you're going to have, as you had said, like the one user said, 15 to 20% or 25, let's just say under 25% shuts off because it's just not profitable. I get it. So then how many, those are off for X amount of time, especially if Bitcoin's price stays static, around this 25, 26, 27, 28. Oh, tease us with 30, 30 is like just the tip, it's like that giant tease, that you get. So I totally understand it 100%. Yeah. We'll have to see. I mean, are you excited for the halving, or are you nervous?
I don't think about it. Okay. Put our head down and go, right? Like, nothing I can change about it. So just keep going on. And historically, the halving takes care of us. Like, that's when, a couple of months, was it 4 months afterwards is kind of when we start to see that price increase. So hopefully we get there and make it all together.
So I need to make a shirt
that says, right?
I need to make a shirt that says, "In Bitcoin we trust." Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what I need to
we've all, if you're new to the industry, it might be your first time. Some of us have been through it a couple of times, and we're still here. So as long as you, like I said, as long as you believe in Bitcoin, and then that's the thing. Like, we got to build out the community every day and just keep going, because if we stop, we all fail, right? So we all need everybody to succeed first to all succeed,
All right, so I figured it out. The shirt's going to say on the front, "I don't trust the U.S. government." And on the back, it's going to say, "I trust in God and Bitcoin." That's what it's going to say.
I like that.
Awesome. Going back to what you had said earlier, I wanted to look it up real quick. So you were at 86. What was the what were you at? You were at 86 terahash. And what was your watts?
So 86 terahash, and on the firmware, it's going to read like 19 and some change.
Okay.
But we have CTs on our meters, and anywhere from 1690 to 17 and a half is where it seems to be.
Wow. Okay. So I'm gonna round that up to, like, let's do 1750 is what I'll do.
Yeah, call it 1750 or something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
So 21 joules a terahash, 20 something.
Yeah, I wanted to look here and see. Yeah, you're about 1750 divided by 86 is about 20.3 is where it puts it at. So what I'm looking at mine, I'm using Bitmain software. I'm on air right now. So mine's at theirs is, for my same unit, 78, but it's at 2037 is what that's out. So if you divide that, I'm at 2611. So that's a big difference. That's a big difference. Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely something I need to look at. So see, I've already learned something just having been on right now,
Yeah, just a few little things, help me. I've learned from you about the nice hash thing, and we've talked about that several times, and there's so many ways to play this game out here. So everybody can help each other out.
No, I get you. So all right, Ben, predictions. Bull run. When do you think it's going to be? Take a guess. You can't be wrong. I mean, geez.
When will it start?
Sure. When do we start to see Bitcoin's price start to crawl upward?
I would say from last November, right, when we were at bottoms.
Yeah.
Technically, you're in a bull run, right? As you're going up. I mean, we've gone up 100.
Gone up a little bit.
100% since the $15,000 bottom, right? We went up to 31. Yep. So, but I mean, traditionally, we see it. I think it's 3 to 4 months after the halving takes place.
Okay.
Halving, whatever you want to say, takes place. And then we see that trajectory for about 12 months. And that's usually around when our peak is. And then we come back down. So I'm thinking peak, maybe January, February of 25. But, I mean, we'll see. So, but I'm thinking that, and what if this ETF thing happens, right? In the first
that's going to be a weird one. Like, it's really odd because, like, everybody's like, okay, like, can you plan a perfect storm? By the way, for me, I definitely think, 2024, we're going to have to ride it out. 2025, I think it's also going to coincide with the election year too. But yeah, I totally agree.
So did Satoshi make that for the election years? That's always the question, right?
100%. He was like, all right, how do I get this roller coaster to a boost upward? 100%. Right. Yeah. So yeah, no, definitely. There's a lot of things that people are talking about. The ETF, you're having, and then, like the next election. And like there's the next 2 years looks jam-packed full. And if it's stepping stones, awesome. The ETF would be awesome before the halving, but I've heard many people speculate that like the halving would be fantastic, and then the ETF to follow to help almost, put it on steroids, bolster it a little bit to help us out there, which would be really nice. Personally, I love to have the halving happen first. Profits are going to be down, but then, here's an ETF to increase the price. Fan-freaking-tastic. Like, That's exactly what I'd love to see. And then, here's an election year. Awesome. Like, I just think, I think if you can hold out over the next 6 to 8 months, I think we got things happening. And that's just pure speculation. I don't know anything than any other guy,
Right. I can't agree more. I think that are they setting that up as, I put my tinfoil hat on here. Is that what they're setting this up for or something? Who knows? But but as miners, we kind of control the rate, the price itself too, right? Like,
sure.
So as the virgin Bitcoin comes onto the market, as long as we're holding it and not selling it, then we're increasing the price. Then it's up to the market makers to make the price, right? As long as nobody's selling it, they got to make the price. But and that's a different story. But the next thing, as long as is that power cost, so it's directly related to our power cost, right? So I think that's the way Satoshi made it, designed it to be correlated with the power cost. So if the supply is cut in half and the power cost and these fuel prices remain the same, there's predictions November we'll see some pretty good drop in our fuel adjustments. But so, I mean, if fuel prices stay high, then Bitcoins should go up higher during the halving. So, I mean,
I'll be curious to see, right now we as a larger farm operator, your first thing you look at is operating expenses and the electric rate there. And when we look at the current economy, it's not looking good. So of course, that doesn't help it out. So I'm curious too, if as we look, as some of the things we kind of forget about a little bit, was the fact of the electric rate. So we need our economy to recover too, which we talk about the election, but then following the election, does the economy recover and we get back to some type of sanity? And I think that would be very helpful for Bitcoin as well. Lowering. So, I mean, think about it. I mean, I'm coming at it from a home crypto miner's perspective where I'm not negotiating these insane electric rates and things like that. Now, granted, I have some weird loopholes that I've come up with and figured out, but still,
it's pretty genius, actually.
Trust me. Okay, so time out real quick here. So I have my shed here at my house, and I'm on year 2. Year 3 hits January, so my rates will go up. But I'm not really running any ASICs here currently right now. So I've thought of the strategy. Hear me out. I've thought of the strategy of powering off my shed here for 12 months. Because then when we come back around 12 months, so it'll be January 2025, and I go back on this same plan, they look at my 12-month history and they see, oh, he has solar. He's not creating any energy. We're going to give him, my first time was like $29 a month. If I can hit that and then be like, turn it all on,
let it go.
So do I have to play this game of 1 year off and then 2 years on type of deal? So there's just games I'm playing, but we'll see what happens. 100%.
Yeah. Somebody at Black Cell's asking, KS3, I'm a Bitcoin maxi, man. I can't help it.
Okay. Yeah, great question. So for you specifically, are you guys looking at other ASICs, or are you just strictly Bitcoin at this point?
Strictly Bitcoin right now. It's the only thing that makes sense. I mean, this is all speculation market anyway, so it's the less of the speculation market, right? But I mean, hey, I come from the GPU world, so I've mined a lot of Flux, mined a lot of Ethereum pre-merge.
Attaboy.
I definitely have my bags out there on things, but I just buy it instead of mining it. I think there's room for us all, but as for a miner, just Bitcoin's the only one that makes economic sense for large miners to do with. Now, there's guys that are hosting facilities like the Kadena guys and several guys out there that are doing it. So more power to them. They got bigger risk appetite, I feel like, than we do. But nothing's wrong with any of it. It's just not what we are. Like I said, I'm a maxi on that end. So
I get it. You fit right in. You fit right in at Bitcoin, the 2023 conference, don't you? Just straight Bitcoin, live it, breathe it, nothing else matters type of deal. No, I get it.
That's right.
So a question for you. Let's jump over here to let me reshare this again real quick here. Love to get some of your thoughts on some of these here. So looking at some of the other ASIC here. That's right. So checking up here on chat. So Outside of the S21, have you guys looked at the S19J or the S19K Pro? Like
The
any of these
K-Pro,
weird?
that's the K-Pro. The K-Pro. I'm
Yep.
thinking about getting a couple of the test and see what we can do with some overclocking and stuff like that with those.
Hey, I got one of those coming in tomorrow. So maybe I need to be driving down to Arkansas, and we need to be doing some fun tests down there with it.
No, we just need to get your fog hashing up and
heck yeah,
and see what it does.
Yeah, I have a K Pro coming tomorrow. I said I wasn't going to buy more Bitcoin miners, and then look at K Pro coming tomorrow, and I actually have my S19 XP coming back to me. I have a video coming out on this, but it mined for 1 hour and then it literally shut off and stopped working. And so literally I sent it. Believe it or not, there's a facility in Delaware. I'm in Pennsylvania, for those of you guys not familiar. So I sent it thinking I would have to get it repaired. Like their customer service told me, send it here, we'll get it repaired. As soon as I gave them the shipping label was shipped, they're like, okay, here's your new shipping label. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, oh, you're just sending it back. We're sending you a new one. Like right from Delaware, not even from like China. And I was like, wait, so like I'm sending you this back and you're just sending me like it was instantly. It was almost like, you know, like sometimes with like car parts and stuff, you have cores, like, okay, I'll give you the core and they send it back. This was that exact thing. It's coming straight from Delaware. My concern is like they send me some used XP and they're like, here, and you're like, wait, I just sent you a brand new one and you're set, you know what I mean?
So the guy we built the 7 megawatt facility for, we just landed 100 XPs this week.
Oh, how did you do with them? Did they all work?
Kind of helped him get his swarming stuff set up, and I was just right before we got on live stream here talking to him. He called me and he said, "Man, out of my 100 XPs, I've got 10 of them that got bad hash boards. What do I do?"
Yeah.
You know, so
my hash boards didn't even show up. Like,
these things aren't running apparently. Like I hopped on this foreman.
Yep.
Yeah, I hopped on this foreman and tried to give it reboot commands and started reading the logs for them and stuff. And it's just, you know, I think they have 110 chips on each chipset, and it's like they're reading half the chips and stuff like that.
Mine was 86. Mine was reading 86 in the logs. When I looked at the dashboard, no hash boards were listed there. And when I looked in the logs, it was like it started to add power to it, and then it shut down the hash boards. That's literally what the log said that I could figure out. Said something about 86, and I was like, holy shit. But as soon as I reached out to customer service, like, no problem, just send it. Which, like, now granted, I was working with my Bitmain partner. I got mine from Bitmain. So I was working with my Bitmain. Yeah, from Bitmain on Telegram with my Bitmain partner, directly from Bitmain. They connected me with their customer service. I sent them the logs, screenshots, everything. 10 minutes later, they're like, here, send it to Delaware. Here it is right here. Send it to Delaware. Literally the shipping label. Like I literally dropped it off at FedEx. And then no more than an hour later, they're like, okay, here's your new one. It's on the way. I'm like, wait. So I don't know if this is normal experience or if it's just because of being partnered with them or what.
Right.
But I was like, so I'm really concerned about getting an XP and opening it and being like, this thing is butchered. You know what I mean? Like that's one of my concerns.
You know, we've buddy of mine down in Mississippi with an immersion farm. He dumped, I think 25 of them, and I think he had like 14 of the boards go bad instantly. So, you know, I've heard that the XPs are struggling. The new version.
Well, it's a shame.
There's a new version or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So if I swap over, we'll take a look at the new version. You're talking about the J. That's actually one I wanted originally. That's the they have a model. It's weird. They have the S19 XP, but then over here they have the S19J XP. The J is 151 terahash at 3,247 watts. So like this is awesome. 151 terahash, like fantastic, you know. This is what I wanted originally, but they were sold out. They're completely sold out. I like how they said futures here, and then they put a date versus like, dude, just call it like a batch or a pre-order. Like, why are we talking futures here? But yeah, so I guess for you guys, let's go back to the other unit here that you guys were interested. So I'm just
Pro.
curious on the S19K Pro. Why? I don't disagree. I'm just asking, what was your interest as a mining farm in this unit?
The price, first of all, on these units, we can get them pretty cheap.
Yep.
That wattage and joules per terahash right there, and I'm ready to throw it in some oil and see what I can do with it. See how far, we can traditionally at my farm we can get about 20 to 25% overclock out of them.
Okay.
So that's pretty good. That's pretty good on the terahash, which that comes in the bull run. Like we'll throw the overclock on it during the bull run.
You'll crank it to hell because you don't care about the electricity because your profitability
right?
is up
but
there.
I mean, at that efficiency though, like I'm thinking I can get down to. I'm thinking I can get down to probably S21 range.
Wow, that'd be sick. Yeah, that's really the thing. I mean, I think it's something I think that like myself as a home miner and other home miners, other content creators, even like myself, we don't put enough emphasis on. And now I'm doing it is like these third-party softwares because the third-party firmwares, because it's like, now that I don't even know how many I have. I mean, it sounds terrible. I don't have that many, but I think I'm like 3, 6, 9, I think about 12 full-size ASICs now. These things are important. It comes down, especially density for me from an electric perspective. Can I run these, get the same, if not better, hash rate with lower watts? I think that's fantastic. So I think that's some things I really need to start experimenting with is like, let's take two 100s. Let's start comparing them. I got Hive on one, maybe Luxor on another, maybe Brains on another, and see what's best for my situation, air cooled versus, when I start to go the immersion route.
Right. Yeah. Somebody also said, damn, immersion's really game changer for third-party firmwares. Yeah. It is, but I don't know how cost-effective it is yet. Like we were talking about that today, immersion, and I make immersion, and I live immersion. But I'll be honest, like right now, the capex is so ridiculous in immersion. Now, when Bitcoin is 100,000, 150,000, then who cares? You're making the killing. So that's all part of building out your infrastructure now for that future, right? Like making yourself get the most efficiency, get the most out of your units, and preparing yourself for that future build out. And let me ask you this. So Sunday, I'm going to Houston to look at the hydro containers, the What's Miner hydro containers.
Oh, yeah.
The M56S++.
Yo, where was my invite? Jesus, Ben, I would have loved to go down there.
I got the invite last night, so here you go. But they run.
So those are containers that have all of the hydro infrastructure built in with them.
That's right. Yep.
Interesting. Okay.
So they run 480, 277, or 380 voltage, right? So that's something I think we need to start thinking as miners also, and this could affect even the home miners, right? Are they going to start switching from this European, Asian standard of the 415, 240? Are they going to start switching down to this American standard as hash rate in America grows? 480, 277 is our standard medium voltage for our like industrial, right? Like, so are they going to start, crafting their units towards these larger miners and push the home miners out of the game just because of the voltage that is needed? So I think there's if you're building out a farm,
Go ahead.
What's that?
No, please finish what you're saying.
Oh, so I think as miners, no matter what size we are, we need to really think and stay in tune with the markets and what they're doing, because Bitmain has some of the same miner set, and then I think Cannon has the same thing, and What's Miner. So, that's things that you need to think about as you're building out your sheds and stuff like that at home. Is like, man, what if in a year from now all my miners are obsolete because I can't run it on these voltages, right?
So I'll comment on that real quick, and then I will get
Yeah.
to Maya and Milo's question. They had a question in chat for you, but I'll get to the power thing there. So I'm actually consulting. I haven't made it public, but I'm consulting for a farm right now that runs 277. And as you had talked about there, like some of the challenges you run into is your standard. You think of like 240, right? You're like, okay, 240, 240, 240, but as time goes on, and we're talking with a few different groups on purchases for stuff like that, people kind of forget about swapping out your power supplies. So I'm curious if we start to see more of these hardware suppliers like your Bitmains, like your WhatsMiners, providing these without a power supply. And then you're picking your power supply based off of your situation. So like instead of you buy the S19K Pro, just the way it is with the power supply, it's like, wait, you get to pick. Like traditionally, think about it. It's like you're building it out. It's like you're building out your car when you're buying a brand new car. It's like, all right, this is the model I want, and then here's the features I want. So now you pick out like, okay, I want this power supply, and you may even see power. Think of it this way too, which would be beneficial to you, is if they even offered an immersion style power supply versus like the adaptive style you're going. So then you have you know what I mean? You have an immersion one, you're 277, you're 240, you know, and you go upwards there. So yeah, I mean, that could be the options of the future versus now I got to spend additional capital to swap out my power supplies in order to support it. That is kind of where my head goes there.
Yeah. And you know, that's just me reading the market of what they're putting out there now. And just look through. It's like always a good thing to remember. You can run that. Yeah. So, I know a couple guys in Oklahoma that do that same thing.
Crypto Craig commenting on that. Yeah, they're not. Listen, I know you can run 277 on some of these 240s, and I get it 100%. I've heard that like sweet spot is like the 207 in that regard. But yeah, it's like, but they're not rated for it. The hard part is when you're putting that type of capital into it, it's like, okay, you're going to kind of do what you got to do there. But there was a question that was up here by Maya and Milo Mining. Ben, do you offer consulting for starting a 1 megawatt facility for a group trying to pull their hardware together in one building with a power company that's cheaper? So do you guys offer any consulting services in immersion, or where are you guys at with that?
Yeah, so we're offering consulting services with our blockchain construction company.
Okay.
You know, always we can look through PPAs, anything that you have there to help you out, and you know, see what is in your region. You know, if you want to reach out to us, you can get to me through Hobbyist there, and
just hit me up. I'll get you connected with Ben. You know, I'm kind of the gatekeeper. You got to get past me first, and then you know I'll pass you on to Ben. But absolutely, no, I think that's great. Which is I think will be really good. Yeah, I'm excited. The S19K Pro, actually, going back to that a little bit, kind of surprised me. Like, I didn't expect it. It wasn't something where I was like, oh, look at this. And then like we have this weird, think about the time period between like the XP and the S21 and like how many all these submodels they came out with during that time period with these. But yeah, I mean, it definitely seems like, now I haven't looked inside of these or heard from anybody's if this is purely from a firmware perspective, or do the S19K Pros actually have like any of these new chips in them or anything like that? Have you heard anything about that at all?
I have not.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Honestly, I've been so kind of leaning into WhatsMiner so much. I've kind of gotten away from Bitmain, but I mean, definitely that is the one unit that I've been kind of perked up on looking at, you know, just simply from a firmware stance of trying to test new things out. But I mean, man, the WhatsMiners, they're beasts, dude. You can't stop them. You can't stop. I
got one of those in. I think it's the WhatsMiner. Is it the M30? I got an M30 in a while ago. ASIC Jungle had sent it to me as a giveaway. Yeah. We gave it away as a giveaway event. I partnered with them on that, and that was cool. I ran that in my garage. I never had one of those before. They're workhorses. You set them, forget them. They do, they do their thing. I feel like Bitmain hardware has become like the diva. You know what I mean? Like they really are. Like they're starting to become more finicky, more and more problems with them. I will say, after seeing everything with the new X5 units coming out, and even from a content creator perspective, all the content creators that got the X5s and they just stopped working. And then I got the XP, stopped working. It's like, what is going on here, Bitmain? Like, are you that big now where you're like, your QA is just garbage and like, you don't give an F? Like, you're just like, whatever, I don't care. Like, if 25% of my units come back and I'm great, I'm good, you know?
I want their margins if they can eat that.
It seems like it, because like the cost to send these to a facility to get fixed, the people, the labor, the time, it has to cost more than doing a better job from the factory perspective, I feel like.
You would think, but I mean, who knows, right? Cheap labor.
I know. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Crypto Craig is jumping in on the S19K Pro perspective. Yeah. I mean, I think these are fantastic. And a good avenue to go on these. I think these we were talking about. So these do 200 to 240, but you can swap out the power. I mean, you can swap out anything pretty much with these units. So you could swap them out if you wanted to, which is nice.
This one from Offset.
What, the one that just came in here? Comparing Hydro Series with water rack and dry coolers versus immersion setup. Which would you prefer since you're playing with WhatsMiner? It's a good question.
I might get back to you with that, after Monday when I'm meeting with WhatsMiner Monday. But so I'll speak on that from a CapEx experience.
Sure. Yep.
Hydro's a lot cheaper. Your CapEx is about
that's what I was going to ask about, because I saw what you got, your infrastructure for your immersion mining at your facility in Arkansas. So that's what I was curious on.
Right now, I feel like it's cheaper. But with that said, the Bitmain hydros were trash. They pretty much couldn't even give those things away. So we'll see how it's all about what works and what doesn't, right? Like air all the way. Cliffhanger. Yeah. So, but we'll see what they say and see what they're really doing. It depends on what you're trying to get in and what your infrastructure is, obviously. And what you have time for. Like, do you value your time, right? Like, I was in, Russellville helping build that site essentially for 9 weeks. And I told my wife the other day, last week when I got back, it was the first time in 9 weeks I walked into my mine. In 9 weeks. Oh, man. Woo. No problems. Done all
That's awesome.
All my curtailment, everything during that period. I'm a one-man show up there. And I paid all my bills, got my Bitcoin, and it was still hashing away. So if the hydro units can do that while I'm out making money elsewhere, that's the true passive income that we.
And let's lower capital too, as you had talked about. Were you surprised? I mean, take a look at these, the S21 Hydro. Were you talked about challenges they had with just selling the previous versions of the Hydros, but they decided to come out with one still. So there still must be a market there for these. But these 335 terahash, 5,300 watts. That's insane. I feel like that's insane.
Yeah. So that's the miner, right? But the miner's not the issue with the hydro container.
No.
It's the container, right? It's the
it's the additional infrastructure past the miner is where.
That's right. So I don't care what that miner says it does right there. If it's the infrastructure behind it, does it work? So Bitmain, did you make a better container? Did you or are you putting this in the the HK-3 box or whatever they call them?
Yep.
Because if you're doing that, then that's a paperweight.
Yeah, no, I get it. So for you guys, you're more in the container game. Like when I was at your facility there, you guys were building out your containers. It was pretty, for those of you guys not familiar, I did put a link in chat earlier to the YouTube video of visiting Ben's farm. I know Patrick Guyan earlier was like, hey, when's Ben going to reveal his shed? Ben has a shed. It's multiple containers, but it's a warehouse with multiple containers, which is really interesting. I mean, did you guys do that originally in case you wanted to move those containers, or what was the driving factor between, instead of just like building it like your warehouse, instead of building that out in just immersion versus the container setup?
No, we kind of went into this kind of thinking that we wanted to get into the container game and start selling them.
Okay. Yep.
So we wanted to make a showroom where somebody could come in. Our site's at the airport. Somebody come in right there and walk across the tarmac and come see our stuff, and then hop on their plane.
Yeah.
And leave, right? So kind of giving it a real feel of what could be out there in the different fields of Bitcoin mining. So that's why we went with it. Hindsight 2020, I wish I wouldn't have done it because.
Okay. Really? Okay.
Well, I mean, because it's, that was a lot of R&D there, and it was like, man,
that's true.
You got a lot of heat in here. I got to get more heat out, So it's still the same game, different day, And I put it in my 10,000 square foot warehouse in open air. Man, I wouldn't have any of the heat problems. I originally had to rebuild my container 4 times to get it right,
Jeez.
So. But
now you got it right. Now you got it down.
Now it's dialed in, and we got it fixed. And it took a lot more time than we wanted, and all of mine are running good now. So, but that's why we did what we did there. But I mean, because you're not going to load up that cooling tower and take it with you. So.
Yeah. Well, what do you mean? I don't understand. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't think so.
100%.
10 years. A hydro container. Okay. Sure.
There you go. There you go. That's cool. That's cool. No, that's good. I mean, I'm happy to hear that. So for those of you guys not familiar, this Ben's facility there, you have one in Arkansas. That's the one that I visited. And then the one that you had built that they were contracted to build. Tell us a little bit about that one. I haven't seen that one. So that one's air cooled, correct? That's a traditional facility layout?
Yeah, kinda. So it's what was it, 140 feet long, open air on both sides, like a passive exhaust with a water with a fogger system in it.
Really? Okay.
On the intake side, yeah. So
that system helps to drop. It's almost like a swamp cooler setup. Like it helps to drop the temperature. Okay.
Yeah, and so when it's above 90 degrees, we can drop the intake side of the air by about 20 degrees. So,
wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, so it's a much different system than I'm used to building. We didn't design it; somebody else already had it designed. We just took our construction knowledge and done it. So built it for.
That's pretty slick. So do you have it? So is the exhaust passive from the ASICs, or is it actually an exhaust setup?
Nope, passes from the ASICs. It's a giant lean-to shed. What it looks like, and but the long walls are open instead of the short ones. So
they
and it seems to be working good. He's not completely filled out, but he's filling out. And like I said, we were just looking at his own miners there with a minute before we hopped on it. I think his hottest temperature was 65 degrees. It's 65 Celsius. And that's with no water system running, of course. So
that's fantastic.
Pretty decent. Yeah. Sometimes it's too complicated.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I hadn't thought of that with some of the mining farms that I visited, because most of them had active exhaust. Until I went to the one in South Dakota, and they were doing the exact thing. Like they literally had their heat wall, their hot aisle wall separator, and then they actually just used the exhaust from the ASICs to just exhaust to an open setup there. They had the fencing and the security and everything right there to the wall. But the nice thing is you just let it naturally. Like you don't need these massive exhaust fans that are like 40,000 CFM. Now it all comes down to what I found chatting with them. It all came down to how big is that opening? The bigger that opening, the easier it is to exhaust, which I thought was really great, because then it's less of that infrastructure that you have to build out. That wall is really cool though. I've seen those, but I've seen those online, but never heard of someone running those walls. Some people call them waterfall walls too, where it's just water that runs over that. So when the air is pulled in, which is great. That sounds awesome to cut it down.
Yeah. On an air facility, it's all about the negative pressure airflows, right?
Yeah.
So you just don't want that the tighter you can get your seals, the better, right? So you just won't want that air recirculating back around. So, I feel like as long as you have a good tight system and, like I said, a big enough
Yeah.
opening, you should just be just fine. Let the fans do what they were designed to do on those miners. Don't
Yeah, I'm finding more and more mining farms, like people naturally, like a mining farm, cool, it's big and open and spacious, but actually think of like a container. That's like the ideal like style of a building, long and skinny, because then you have air in and air out. Like that's pretty much what you want. And that's, I think, what I saw with some of the pictures that you had showed of that facility, which is just really, really slick. So is that facility hosting that you guys are like, is that the one that you built out that's looking to host? And if they are, is there a minimum quantity or what?
Yeah. So, and that's what I was chatting with the owner about earlier. They are looking for clients, the retail client, from anywhere, 1 MOQ all the way on up. Again, you can get through with a hobbyist there, and we can get you in touch with the right people of getting people hosted. They got a pretty good ops team. I've kind of, I guess, pseudo became some of their ops right now manager. I don't work for them. There's no paycheck involved, but
Dang it.
Well, no, that's not true, because in the future there is, right? Because he has a 15 megawatt farm. That's who I'm going to look at this hydro with, because we might be building these hydros on his 15 megawatt farm for him. So that helps out my construction. So if I can help him get clients in the front end, it helps my stuff on the back end, obviously. But fantastic. Again, my view in Bitcoin is that we have a bigger, quote, enemy here, right? I hate to use the word enemy, but you know what it is.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
We got to help each other out, right, as much as we can, because if one of us fails, the rest of us are bound to fail. So that's my view on it. So we don't have to be the most greedy bastards out there all the time. So
what are you seeing from a power perspective as a mining operator? What are you seeing within the industry? From a normalcy. I mean, you don't have to give away what you guys have there, but are you guys seeing sub 5 cents at some of these mining farms, or are we still way above that? We're kind of 6, 7.
I only know of one area that has like sub 5. We're above 5, all in. So it's just but again, that's what we were talking about here in Arkansas. We're a regulated market. We should be sub 5 come November, maybe. We'll see. Hopefully. Really?
Okay.
Because of the fuel adjustment cost is our biggest changing number on our PPA, right? So we've actually gone up like almost a penny, 1.2 pennies since the war started. Essentially, like it's a crazy trajectory, right? Like February 2021, and then boom, the war happened, and it's just straight up 2022 and the straight up, right? So with the natural gas prices coming down, that being most everybody's source of power for the most part in the States, it seems like that. We're projected to be about a half a penny less come November. So that'll put us below our sub 5 cent level, which would be great. I'd love that. That's 36.
Yeah. Now for you guys at your facility, I know like based off of touring your facility, you have a substation close by. Are you able to increase, if you increase your electric usage there, are you able to start to get I don't know what you've worked out with the power company? Are you able to get lower rates based off of increasing that, or are you pretty capped out?
Yeah, so we're under the Public Service Commission. So since we're a regulated market, it's one. There's no negotiating. It's one for every company out there. Now, Arkansas did pass the right to mine law, and under that law, we were.
What is that? What is that exactly? What is that? What exactly does that state? Yeah, what does that state in layman's terms?
So the right to mine law says that we can't be discriminated against. Like, they can't deny us power
because they're like, oh, you're a Bitcoin miner. Oh, yeah.
Can't be discriminated. They can't tell us we can't get permits in cities and things like that. Now we have noise ordinances issues that we have to deal with and show, just be a good, respectable neighbor. But they can't discriminate against us. But also on the same side, the public, same time, 𝐿𝐸gy, who's our utility regulator here, our utilities provider here.
Oh, you have 𝐿𝐸gy, okay.
Yep, they went to the Public Service Commission. And before any of this, I had no clue that there was such thing as a public service commission. I even told the lawyer when I was on the phone with her, I was like, "Ma'am, I don't even know who the hell you are until like 30 minutes ago, so I don't know why you get to regulate me." But but so they make it pretty much where it's a tariff and fair across the board, and that's what you get when you come to play. So there's no negotiating yet. I think we're going to.
I have it. It might be coming out tomorrow. I sat down with Ben Walsh. He's he used to work for Sunnyside Digital. Now he works for Giga Energy, and he actually hosts a podcast. If you ever any platform, look for Hash Rate Happy Hour, and he actually has a lot of people on, mining farm operators. He had BBT Carter on some time ago. He has on. He even has tried to get on power companies, and really it's a conversation on power and mining. It's really good. I think you'd really enjoy it, Ben. But he had me on some time ago after we met at Mining Disrupt. Then I was on his podcast, and we were talking about power as a home miner. And somehow we got into the conversation about at some point we're going to need some type of commission or some type of union that represents miners. That is if it's not at a state level, it's love to have it at a federal level, but it allows us to find opportunity. So like right now in Pennsylvania, I'm actually looking at cooperatives, cooperatives that you can get in with, because if I want to find out like, hey, if I use X amount of electric, I use more than most businesses. So it's like, okay, put my head in the ring, put me in the ring, and can I get in on these cooperatives? And those of you guys not familiar, cooperative is pretty much a group of people or businesses that then go to an electric company and say, here is all of the electric we use. What type of rate can you give us? Because that's the avenue I'm looking to go. And I'd love to see, we talked a lot about this on the podcast on like, as a home miner, how badass would it be if this existed in like a state like Pennsylvania? And then, and hear me out here for some of you guys, if you were to say, most people aren't going to come out as a home miner and say, I'm a home miner to a power company. But if you were to say that and you get a stellar electric rate for that, but when we're in a state of emergency, you are forced via contract to shut off, but you're compensated for it. You're compensated for that downtime. And there's incentives there on both sides of it. And Texas is a phenomenal example of like, if there were more mining farms that were stabilizing that grid and then this occurred and they shut off, whoa, look at all this power that's available. So what is your perspective from a mining farm operator and just kind of some of those thoughts?
We had this exact conversation today with Halving. So I'm a founding member of Arkansas Blockchain Council. And that's kind of the role I'm starting to take as a responsibility with the Blockchain Council. Is getting in with our public utilities and saying, hey man, this is what we can do for you, and this is how it makes it work, right? And education is very we need to educate everybody in this industry of what we can do. Everybody thinks, oh, I'm just going out here. And this is my view on the future of Bitcoin mining too, is that we're all like subsidized microgrids, right? Going back to that we're virtual peaker plants of virtual batteries for our grid. So I think, we've even had some of our state senators ask me about demand response. So I was like, whoa, how the hell do you know about the word demand response, right? Like you're a California in northern Arkansas, right? Like, so somebody's doing some research, right? Do your own research. And they're starting to do that. And I think that's the pure play of Bitcoin mining for the future. It's not so much about how much Bitcoin you can mine. It's about the how to monetize the electric grid for
that's one way to look at it. Yeah.
Miner, right.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we're going. It's just going to take a lot of education, and I would think, like in your state, start a council. And I know that's what my president is trying to do, is trying to put together each state. He's been working in Missouri here lately, and it's every state. He wants to go to every state and start this council. It's almost like a pseudo trade organization but
those are the people that meet with your representatives, and then the representatives are the ones that go ahead and put these in place. That's then the electric companies are forced to follow them. So it's like 100%. I get it. Which is good here.
You're from up north, right? And y'all have a lot of unions up there, and
unfortunately, yes. Unfortunately, yes.
Double-edged
sword.
Right. Exactly. So, if you can form some type of trade initiative of home miners or just miners in general, like the Blockchain Council membership's $40 a month. $40 a year or something like that. I don't even remember what it was, but like you can do that and you get to have a voice in the community. We're Americans. We pride ourselves on that free speech, and then even in Bitcoin, right? We're all about freedom. So. We have to initiate these regulators, or they're just going to kill it. They're going to regulate us by what they know, which is a problem. So we need to educate them.
Which is very little. Yeah,
That's right.
You're right. You're right. Definitely. Somebody had a question here, Robot in chat, about the demand response with computer controlled or shut down manually. Most of what I've heard is mostly shut down manually. No one wants to give the power company the ability to like access to their rigs. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. So I think most of that is shut down manually. It's more of like what I have heard is it's very much of like you end up being part of like, your cell phone. So you get a call or you get a text message, and then it's your responsibility to shut them down per a contract, type of deal. And then it's all built into the contract. So like you end up saying, hey, I want X, I'm going to get X, but then I have to do this when asked.
So the way our curtailment works is they give us they can give us as little as a 1 hour notice, right?
Okay.
However, I have yet to run into that, and that can only be 10 times a year for 4 hour increments. So
you give up 40 hours a year. You give up 40 hours a year,
That's
pretty
right.
much.
That's right. Yeah. So they've given me, as the shortest time frame has been 3 days before.
Wow. Okay.
I usually get about 5 days notice on, hey, you're going to curtail on Thursday between the hours of 2 and 6. Gotcha. Okay. I'll do it. So when I first started curtailing, I was flipping switches, right? I was popping the disconnects or whatever have you.
Okay.
I was like, man, this is really messing stuff up. I don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Got on foreman, threw it in sleep mode, And
there you go.
That keeps my firm demand. So I'm allowed to keep 10% of my farm.
Which you'll be. It pretty much just powers on your control boards.
That's right.
And that's pretty much it. And so you can interact with them.
Yep. Yeah. So, but again, I'm not trying to shield Hive here, but in their demand response programming on their new OS, you get to schedule all that, and they're we are trying to get to where we can talk with our utility companies to give them the ability.
Wow.
Yeah, because it makes sense as long as we can negotiate them lower rates. Because
I see what you mean.
It's not about a power usage; it's about a frequency and that velocity of that power usage. So if you have like very few fluctuations, we're talking milliseconds here, right? That these computers, that these CTs can read it on. And if we can fluctuate the grid and stabilize the grid, because if they produce this amount of power, they want to consume this amount of power, right?
Yeah,
but there is always that little unbalanced part, right? So as Bitcoin miners, hopefully we can work with the utilities in the future to bring a symbiotic balance to the grid, our grid.
Yep.
And if they want to control it, hey, go ahead. I don't care, but you're going to pay me for it,
Well, that's exactly the case, and I mean, I think that's really what comes into it. Is like, okay, and for me, it's like, what's in Pennsylvania right now? I mean, that I haven't heard anything. It means it doesn't exist. But no, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing there. You should build it. Ben, if I had enough time to do that, that'd be awesome, brother. Give me some of your time. That'd be good. How hard could it be? That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, there is, as I said before, I've looked in, there's a few cooperatives in the area that I want to start to look into. There's about 3 within an hour of me that I want to start to look into, because like for here, like January is when mine is up. So it's like, okay, if I can join a cooperative and I bring X amount of electric usage to that cooperative, okay, great. What does that give me? Like, what does that cost me and what does that give me? And does it make it lucrative? Is kind of where my head goes, and things that I need to start to look into as a home miner. And it's like, man, I got a little operation, but still at the same time, it's like, regardless, as a miner, you're using so much more than most businesses use,
That's
so
right,
like,
that's what I was gonna say. Are you really a little operation if you're a home miner? That they give businesses an incentive, right, to come into their cities, right, and that tax write-offs and the utilities give even smaller, businesses the incentives to do there. So you don't employ 20 people, but you're employing 25 units that put the same caloric, or if not more, the same caloric energy that into the system than a human does, right?
I always get you use as much electric as 15 homes in your neighborhood. I'm like, yep, I get it. Yep,
thank
I
you.
understand.
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Yes, I do. Well, cool. Well, guys, we have about 10 minutes here left. I think an hour and a half has gone by really quick already.
Can I say one thing in the chat here real quick?
Absolutely not. You're not allowed.
Come on.
Go for it.
So he says, Robot asks, they pay in premium, right? More than the profitability to mine? Maybe, right? Or
depends on the rate they give you. Yeah.
Or you're just getting a lower rate, right?
Yeah.
You just get the option to get that lower rate. So that's the way you got to look at it. And if you ever want to talk to these guys, that's the way you approach it. So, you never want to approach it them and say, hey, what are you going to give me? Is for the power back. They don't like that. But if you can say, hey, let's negotiate and figure out something that helps us mutually both out, they like to hear that better.
Yeah, it's crazy. I did a poll here. It's really funny. What is your electric rate? And most of my audience is home miners here. And man, it was super even across the board. Like, I can't really believe the fact 25% was around 10 cents. 25% was at 7 cents. 23% was at 20 cents. And 23 was at 15 cents. So like, holy cow, like completely balanced across the board. Really, really surprised by that on that factor. So Ben, for you, while we'll wait, guys, if you guys have any questions for Ben, just post them in chat now. We're going to hang out for about 10 minutes. You guys can ask questions if we didn't answer them, or for myself. But Ben, what is your electric rate at your house? Not that you're running miners, but what is it there? Do you know?
I think 11 or 12 cents, something like that. Yeah,
something
same
like
utility provider, same utility provider. But I think like 11. But we have that levelized billing too. So
okay.
I could really get them for a year, right? Like if I could get the power, I could get them for a year, because I think I pay $120 or something like that a month.
Yep.
My wife handles all the bills, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
That a girl. Like, somebody's got to take care of Ben. Somebody's got to take care of Ben.
That's
right. No, that's good. Yeah, very. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because like if I don't play this game, I'm at just over 16 cents.
Ooh,
I'm just over 16 cents if I don't play the game. So like. And I'll be honest, I'm not, I don't feel ashamed, not at all. I mean, electric provider,
they'll figure it out. And then by the time
my other thought too, I have lots of options here. I mean, my other thought is like January comes about. Before then, it's like, okay, I have a few options. I could shut off, and then I have solar that covers my electric 100%. So like now solar gives me like 1,800 kilowatt hours, something stupid like that. It's like nothing. That's like a drop in the bucket, guys. It's like running like, not even one ASIC. But it covers my electric for the year, which is awesome. So I could run that and play the game for a year. I could reach out to my provider or the distributor, which is PPL, and they've actually dropped their rates to try to compete with some of these suppliers and say, what are you guys going to do for me if I stay with you? Or, which they might say, you can go pound sand. You're just a little fish in the pond. Or I can go ahead and look at the cooperative avenue. So I have lots of homework for myself to do.
You need
over
to
the
make
next
a
few
video
months.
on what you're doing there. And
I did. I do have
you?
a video. It's like a 30-minute long video, and I literally go through my electric bills and I show them on screen on what they were, how it works, things like that. Trust me, I've had so many people reach out to me in Pennsylvania that are like, how do I do this type of deal? Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
That's what I was saying. That'd be good for your audience for sure. Maybe you need to recount that for some folks.
I do.
There you go.
As we get up here.
There you go. You're a consultant.
That's right. That's right. So a question here for you, Ben. Mm-hmm. Ben, in your experience, what states have had the best rates, or what you've heard, or things like that?
I only operate in Arkansas, so I can, my rates. I think we're among the top 4 or 5 in the country with our rates.
Okay. Wow.
So
now, what's most of your electric there? Is most of your electric is it nuclear or something
nuclear.
like that?
60%.
Wow.
Nuclear.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, and then the rest is a mix of hydro and everything else.
Okay.
But, in the regulated market, right? Mississippi has pretty good rates. Louisiana has okay rates. As far as everybody else, I'm not too sure on. That's always top secret. That's always top secret.
I know, right? Everybody keeps it quiet. Trust me, I get people that literally comment on my videos when I'm like, I'm at 4 cents right now at my shed, and they're like, "You're a liar." I'm like,
yeah,
no, I show the math. Like, here's how I make it work. I mean, and it's awesome. I mean, it works great for 4 cents.
If you're in a regulated market, which 99.9% of our country is, it's all just going to their websites and pulling up their rate rider sheets. Like, anybody can figure it out, right? It's not top secret. So that's one thing in this industry I don't understand. I'm like, dude, you're in a regulated market. You're not negotiating shit with nobody, right? Like, you legally can't do it. So, like, you're not really hiding much, dude. Just share what you got, It's the capacity, right? It's the capacity that's the problem. If that's what you want to hide. You don't want nobody to know where the capacity is at, because then they're just going to eat it up, right? But if the rate, who cares? Figure it out. Like,
so this is that rate completely broken down. I'm going to zoom in here so you guys understand it. So I've actually broken it down, the entire bill here. So like, you have watts, which was what miner's thinking, kilowatt hours used, which is the conversion. The distribution, which that's my bill has 2 sides, the blue and the green side. The blue side is 4.9, which is awesome. You have a customer charge in there, and then this is where the gold lives, is the green side. So if I didn't shop this, I'd be at 12 cents. So that would equal almost 17 cents now, where you're at there. So as you guys can see, look in the right-hand column, total price per kilowatt hour. So as you increase your usage, look where that number goes. So that shed right now is 28,800. So you can see as you start to go down more and more. So as this rate fluctuates down more and more, you can see 5 there, and then as I get more, it gets 4 cents there, type of deal.
Right.
So like, you need to, and that's the big thing is, but like, that's unheard of.
Do you have a demand charge?
Demand charge? No. Like, literally, it's like a few charges and you're done, type of deal is how it works out. Which is really, really nice.
Because that's one thing. If you have a demand charge, you need to get above that demand charge, right? Like,
correct. Yeah, in order to fulfill it. Correct.
Well, not only to fulfill it, but your averages are much higher if you're not above that demand charge.
Correct.
So you need to get up and above it first. That's the first thing. Mia here says, what's the biggest challenge when you got started? Mistake. The biggest mistake we made, we went into it and said, okay, as a self miner, right? No matter if you're as a self mining company, if you're doing 10 megawatts or if you're doing 2 or 3 machines at your house, right? Like, when you're sitting down, a lot of us are sitting down, what's my BTC calculator, right? What am I going to make this
Mhm.
month? What am I going to do this?
Yep.
And you extrapolate that out a year, right? Well, so generally you're going to sit down and you go, at my max, what am I doing right now? And
Yeah.
if we made the mistake of, we say, okay, we're going to build out this facility infrastructure-wise, and then we're going to grow it with miners to fill it in. Well,
Okay.
that was a poor decision because of that hash rate keep going higher as higher. So
Mhm.
I would say make sure you have your complete CapEx for your facility ready to go, and not come in and say, I'm going to step in with, 200 miners this month, and then 4 months from now put in another 2 or even
Gotcha.
1 or 2 or whatever. I think because every second that you're not mining, you're
Yep.
losing the game.
Yep.
You're
100%.
losing the game. So you need to, and you've kind of got your numbers based on what am I going to do in a year from now. I mean,
Mhm.
who knows what the hash rate is? Who knows what the Bitcoin value is? So you should be ready to go all in up front. And we made that mistake. I mean, we mined for 5 months on 1 megawatt, and we were losing.
Oh, got you. Yeah, because you had so much more potential. Like it's there. Yeah, I get you.
Just so much into it. That's right. So yeah, you definitely have all your ducks in a row, and when you're ready to go, pull the trigger at the whole thing, and then then it makes it easier. Okay, a new unit comes out. All right,
Yeah.
sell your stuff that you have, get some of your money back on it. Think about all the money you made because you were mining it during this whole time, and you take your margin or loss or profit margin on that, and continue on if that's what you want to do. So I'd say that was my personal biggest mistake was not going all in on my facility at first. So, and that's
awesome.
a self-miner, and that goes back to everybody, if that's your business model.
No, I get it. 100%. Yeah. So for those of you guys who don't know in chat, they're all full self-mine. They're not doing hosting, at least right now, right, Ben? You guys aren't doing hosting or anything like that?
Hosting. Yeah. I've tried to get my partners to do it, and they're just too greedy. They want to give up that power. That's what I tell them. I get it. I said, you're killing me. I'm trying to hedge here, right? You usually think I'm hedging Bitcoin. I'm hedging against the dollar with my Bitcoin, right?
Yep.
And in my mind, I'm like, I need to hedge this Bitcoin volatility with some dollars. I know.
Well, that's the thing too. Some of these farms too, where like they've worked so hard to get that amazing electric rate. So now it's like capitalize on it. You know what I mean? Like capitalize on that. And you have 2 ways you can capitalize on it. You can fill out entirely to the point where you're maximizing your power. So then you're capitalizing on it, or you can go ahead and host. Now, and then the nice thing is you make a little extra on top. You're making, more than that. The nice thing is about hosting too is the fact of like you can charge some flat fees. So it's kind of consistent revenue coming in every month, which is really, really nice. And there's a benefit there.
So I was talking to the guy who has a 7 megawatt farm.
Yeah.
And he was like, if I was a miner, and of course he's a hosting guy, so maybe he was in this, but it makes sense too because of what I've dealt with in my own stuff. It was like, he's like, it's not really bad to buy your miners and have it hosted elsewhere instead of building out your own infrastructure and building. I mean,
well, yeah, because the cost of infrastructure is
that's
huge.
right. Because at one point, between my infrastructure cost and my miners and everything else with my power cost, I was at, when you average it out, I was like at 16, 17 cents a kilowatt hour due to my high infrastructure costs. Of course, we were doing a lot of R&D and stuff too, but so I would say that's another thing to think about if you're going to try to build out your own farm is like, what am I really paying per kilowatt hour here when I add in what my infrastructure costs? And I'm going to tell you, almost always you're going to be better off sending your stuff somewhere else, right?
Yeah, I mean that's the challenge, and that's the challenge too. I mean, for home miners, like I think the thing is like, you're gonna, even as a home miner, it's all on scale. So like I lucked out because I found a partner to partner with to do my electric. So my electric didn't cost me anything but the actual parts. But to pay an electrician to come in to do some of the stuff that I was requesting as a home miner was expensive. Now that I started consulting with some mining farms, looking at what your costs are, there was one There was a farm up in upstate New York I was chatting with, and the build out cost was $500,000 in electrical. And it was like, I mean, guys, think about that. Like, now, granted, it's all scale. It's all scale. So that's something to keep in mind. Take that and bring that down to a home miner perspective and say $5,000. It's like, oh shit, $5,000 on top of building these things. It's all scale. It all comes down to that scale. And it's like, holy crap. Like, those are the things you consider. So instead of looking at it and being like, well, they're 8 cents, I'm going to go with Musk Miner. They're 8 cents. That's really expensive. Is it really? Or are you going to pay to have an electrician come in, and are you going to make back the $5,000 in electrical costs? It's like, oh shit, I'm all right. I'm just going to go ahead and host it type of deal. So that's right. I get it. Yeah. I get it 100%.
Because you need to look at what your slots cost you, right?
Yeah.
So if it costs you $10,000 and you can only get your upgrades, and you can only get 10 ASICs in there, it's like, okay, that's $1,000 a slot, right?
Yep.
You should send it off to somebody that can be hosted for you, because it's costing them $25 a slot to fill it, because they've done it at such scale, right?
Yeah.
And are you going to make back and I mean, if you're spec mining, like and you really believe what you're going to do, and think you're the whatever coin you're getting there is going to get there. But I mean, with Bitcoin, you pretty much know what's up, and that's it's a hard pill to swallow, I think.
Yeah.
When you really think about, because I'm guilty of that too. When I first started, I was like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to, I started the back of my tanning salon. Like, I'm doing this, all this, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, shit, this makes no sense to me anymore, actually, when you run the numbers. So
yeah, there's a lot of people in the bear market which have come to that realization where it's like, damn, this doesn't make sense. And I get it. That's why, it's crazy to me to see on some of these projects with the hash rates growing in a bear market as crazy as they are. Because at the end of the day, it's like, man, sometimes it doesn't make sense. Like if I was to have paid, like when I built out my setup at my electrician's house, if I was to have to pay someone to trench that 160 feet and then going ahead and wiring that entire shed up, sub panels, things like that, if I had to pay someone, it wouldn't have made sense. It wouldn't have made sense. I mean, I would have paid $10,000 to have, or more, to have that done. And then when you put on your tinfoil ROI hat on, and you're like, wait, there's an ROI is never. It's like, oh shit, I'm not doing this type of deal. So yeah, I think you're right. I think a good thing for home miners listening too is like, when you're looking at these things, you got to look at the all-in price, not just that miner. I think that's really important.
Yeah. So I don't know how to say this name.
𝗏𝐺𝐻𝐻𝐿.
𝗏𝐺𝐻𝐻𝐿? Hey, there you go. Yeah, I wonder that myself, honestly, sometimes. Like, there's these market makers out there, and I'm not a finance guy. I really don't understand it. Like, but my understanding is that they're paying for Bitcoin price to move the market, to kind of hold it at a floor. I think Bitmain is probably a pretty big player in that. That's the speculation we all probably have and have talked about before.
I think Bitmain is involved more in this scene than we see. And here's why. Over the last month, I have learned so much about Bitmain. So like more and more skepticism around Ice River and their involvement with Bitmain. That's been a huge one. And like, is it a sub company? Did Bitmain come in and buy them out? And then that's why they stopped mining. And then on top of that, I was actually at Cypherpunk. I was talking, and I won't say who it was, but I was talking with a company there that they're opening a 100 megawatt facility in Paraguay. Paraguay has the best electric rate in the world. It's sub a penny, like insane, right?
Yeah.
Bitmain got word of it and wants 20% of that facility. So they're filling that facility with 20 megawatts of their miners under a sub company, so that and Bitmain will tell you, we don't mine. Bullshit. So if this is one company, imagine how many farms in the US are running these shell companies for Bitmain to run their. I mean, they control. You watch these movies and you see these like evil companies that are involved everywhere. Bitmain literally involves themselves in every part of the crypto mining scene. They're not just a hardware provider. And that's the crazy thing to me. And this is more and more of what I'm learning.
Let me tell you a little secret that I've learned in the construction. Tell me a secret,
right? Don't tell anybody though. Don't tell anybody.
Right. So, if you got 20 megawatts of capacity, call Bitmain. You can sell it to them and at your margin, and they're going to send all the infrastructure, and they're going to send all the miners, and they're going to send their all operating team, and they're going to set it down. That's what happens.
So help to cover your costs, 100%. Hell yeah.
Oh, they'll do everything for you. Like, so, I mean, that's a dirty little secret. And then, we've been in talks with, and I hope this don't get me in trouble, like, Hunter.
Sure, get you in trouble.
But, but like, in talks with a bunch of clients that we're building out these sites for, and it's like pyramids back up, and I'm like, shit, you're Bitmain at the end. Like
right.
Okay.
It's like, wait, who are you working with? Oh, you're working with this person?
Why am I talking to the same guy who represents 10 different companies?
Yep.
And it's like, that is a problem in this in the mining industry that we need to tackle. Like, it's not good business to have the guy who manufactures these machines that give us.
It's the same guy that's mining with them, that's buying into farms, and like, I mean, it almost comes back to. So we talked about virgin Bitcoin. We were going to cut the stream here. Tell me if like you got to go, but we were going to cut the stream earlier. You're good. All right, so we were talking about virgin Bitcoin earlier. What is your perspective as a mining farm operator or mining farms operator on the word on the street, we'll call it, of like these black rocks coming in and wanting to buy facilities so that they have true virgin Bitcoin? What's your perspective on that as a mining farm operator?
As the OTC market dries up, I think that is going to be a reality. But as long as they can buy at OTC, then they're not going to waste their time in coming in buying up the millions upon billions of dollars of infrastructure that it takes to get to the mining, right? So, but and that's why we don't keep our stuff on exchanges, guys. Like, these exchanges, when you leave your Bitcoin on exchange, they're going to take it and they're turning around and sell it on the OTC market for a cheaper price, and then they're turning it around and then selling it back to that exchange, raising the price of Bitcoin or dropping the price.
Isn't that nuts? Isn't that nuts? Like, just like how that
it's something that we all know. Like, Michael Saylor's out here buying on the OTC market. Occasionally he buys spot, but everybody gets excited. Oh, MicroStrategy bought 50.
MicroStrategy bought, exactly.
And it's like, why didn't the price move? Oh, because he bought it on the OTC market. And then now he's hoping that when he makes that announcement that it rises it up, right? Like, as a Bitcoin miner, I don't want to use the word Ponzi scheme, but shit, people, like, come on. Which is why we all need to work together, and because, like I said, we have a bigger enemy to fight here.
That's crazy.
So
that's crazy.
And powers and numbers, right? So hopefully,
I get it.
Yeah, that's. Maybe one day they'll come in and buy up that version, but I just don't see it yet. So.
Come on in. You're like, sold. Take it. Here's your virgin. You get the virgin Bitcoin with it. You know what I mean?
They do buy a future hash rate, though.
Is that crazy? Yeah, I know. Is it nuts? It's nuts on that perspective there. So S19K Pros, that's kind of what's in your horizon right now. You think that's kind of sometime soon? Okay.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
We doing a full container? We doing a full container of those suckers? Or are you going to do like a one bath?
It'll probably be just like with the M50s, test a couple of them first, see what we can get. And it's going to be working with the firmware guys too, see what they had to offer. Nice. I mean, a lot of this is, I just ask them, hey man, what are you seeing?
Yeah.
And they tell us, like our Hive's really good about that at least. So
Yep.
You don't have to spend all the money sometimes to test it. Let somebody else test it, and then you back.
Well, you let me know. You let me know what they end up saying, because I don't know how soon are you getting yours, or you haven't pre-ordered them yet?
I have not ordered them yet. We've just been talking about it. Like I said, because we're trying to figure out if we're going to do this hydro thing.
Got it. Okay.
I'll send you some pictures.
Yeah, you better send me some pictures. Yeah, I'll have my S19K Pro tomorrow. But I'm kind of, like, as you know, when you go to, if you go immersion, you're all in on immersion. You're not playing the game on like, I'm going to swap back. So that's why I'm tempted to do my two 100 terahash units, because then it's like, all right, if I can get a little more out of them, during the next market, great, versus putting that S19K Pro in there and playing the game. That's kind of where my concern is. So
I will say another thing on immersion.
Sure.
If you are looking at units in immersion, I would, if you can find them, the 95 terahash units or the 110 terahash units blow the J Pros out of the water in immersion. So
I've heard that. You get so much.
So,
you get so much more out of them, and especially using. And that's something like for me, like that's like a huge takeaway from our conversation. Is like, damn, I need to get Hive on my ASICs as soon as possible, and start to play this game, because for me, I'm playing the game right now. I'm balancing out how much hash rate I could get from my power, and it's like, wait, I could get same amount of hash rate but for less power, so it means I can fit more ASICs on, which is awesome. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of where I'm at.
As long as you have the plugs for it, then it makes a lot more sense, right? As long as you can do that, you're good. I mean, I would talk to them if I was anybody in the chat. They're a great group. They'll help you out, and super responsive to anything. They just came out with their own pool. So
is Hive running their own Bitcoin pool?
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say is I asked them about it months ago, and they were like, hey, man, we got one, but it sucks. Don't mess with it yet. Give us a little. And I was like, who in the Bitcoin industry would be like, don't use my shit, it sucks, right? So I was like, man, I'm glad you're honest about it. So they contacted me.
That's really funny.
And they were like, hey, it's ready. So, I mean.
Interesting.
There it is. So.
Yeah. It was interesting.
They're supposed to be switching my farm over in the next few days.
Okay. To their Bitcoin one. So 0% transaction fees. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. All right.
Yep,
I like it. Yeah, look at that. I'm definitely gonna have to test this out a little bit more. Because I think that's the way to go. I mean, I think it's like, how do I maximize my shed, the amount of ASICs, everything going on there. Mm-hmm. Golden Wolf says, headed to hobbyist neck of the woods. Watch out. I better put my alarm on in my house if you're coming this way.
There's a wolf in town.
I know. There's a
watch out.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the challenge too. You know what? I might put Bitcoins. I might put, I'd like to do that. I'm going to put them up against Nice Hash and some of these other ones. See how they do. I think that would be a good comparison there.
Hey, I even follow you on that stuff, right? Like, I take the lead from you. How many times have I texted you and been like, "Hey man, is that Nice Hash stuff? How's that going?" Right? So,
trust me, people have messaged me and they're like, "Is it legit?" I'm like, "Dude, I ran it for 30 days." I'm like,
like, what can I do?
If you want better, you could go for a year, but like, I can't help you out here. And I'm like, this is what I saw. Which was crazy. I cannot believe how good Pegapool was before they shut down. They were better than Nice Hash.
It was all that pizza.
They had 0% pool fees. That's exactly what it was. They were taking nothing. That's why. So like when I started to do the math, I'm like, damn, Pegapool is winning every single day. I even hit up Nice Hash and they were like, oh shit, what's going on here? And then I was like, dude, there's 0% pool fees. And they're like, wait, are you kidding me? I was like, yeah. And I was like, but how do you operate with that long term? It was so funny that like it fell apart like that halfway through that. Now, Via BTC has been really, really close to Nice Hash. They've been the closest, especially right now, which is really interesting. And that's been good. So I actually have my Avalon miner. I have it on there because it doesn't do as well on Nice Hash. Like there's a lot of instability. And because Nice Hash isn't as Avalon friendly. Have you ever mined with any of the Avalons? No? Okay.
I'm in talks with them right now about getting some of their immersion units.
Nice. Maybe. Okay.
But man,
I get it. I get it. Yeah, but look at you with the M50s. You kind of broke away from Bitmain and now you're super happy about them.
Yeah, I guess, but it's Avalon, right? Like their quality is sometimes, and it's crazy because they were the first ones in the game. So
yeah, they were like your early ones here. Ralbot here. Can I put hosted ASICs on my Hive farm and control them? Most hosted farms most likely will use their own OS of some kind or something like that. I mean, if they let you use your own OS, awesome. but traditionally they have some type of control in there, is my understanding.
Yeah, as you said, I'm not sure how that works. I know
most hosting will do that.
I know the 7 megawatt farm is going to be using Hive, and I think there's something in there that could be done for that.
There you go.
Maybe we'll be the first people, not we, but he'll be the first guy in town that can try those models out. So that's what we.
Yeah, I mean the nice thing is what you could do with Hive is the fact of like let's say I'm a farm operator that's hosting. I can install it and run it and separate people based off of their farm, like in my Hive, and then I can give them access to manage, like to see it, to manage it, to control it, things like that. So like you can do that right now.
Yeah. So one bear market strategy out there, guys, and I don't know if there's a lot of farms doing it, but there are some out there that can do it, and this guy is one of them that I've been in talks with to help him understand and do is a profit sharing strategy where y'all are both paying the farm's price. So the farm put in the infrastructure, you're bringing the miners, and you get a rate. You get the rate that the farm gets, right? So during the bear market, you're getting that lower rate. Yep. But you are splitting some of the share of the hash rate, right?
Okay. Yep.
Right. But so with Hive, you create a flight sheet just like we used to on the GPU mining, and it is a profit sharing hash sheet, flight sheet, and then it will automatically take out 2 different wallets where there's a where there's a wallet that goes to you, and there's a wallet that goes to the farm. And then there's a power wallet. And then there's a power wallet that you have a multi-sig on.
Oh, and that's nice. Yeah.
And at the end of the month, the power is paid out of that power wallet.
It's paid out of what you mined. It's paid out of what you mined directly.
That's right.
Yeah, that's slick. That's really slick. Because then you're not having to settle up at the end of the month and everything, and it all just kind of goes from there.
Yep. And you're getting that cheap power, right?
Yeah.
And so then that incentivizes the farm to be the hosting provider efficient, right? So they don't want you to be efficient, right? They want you to use all the power that's out there.
Correct.
But when they get skin in the game too, it's like, wait a minute, we got to get efficient, right?
Yeah.
So that is a model that I'm working with this guy over here.
It's a good idea, though.
Put out there, yeah. I mean, hey, it's what's good.
And how many units? How many units can that facility hold?
2,300.
2,300. Wow. Okay.
Yep.
Fantastic. So, that's great. I mean, that's a good size. That's absolutely. And how many? You said 7 megawatt.
7 megawatts. Yeah, it's a 7 megawatt farm.
That's a good size there. Absolutely.
So that incentivizes the efficiency of our markets.
Yep.
That incentivizes the hosted facility to keep you online, right?
Yeah. It does. That setup does 100%.
Yeah. I mean, some of these, my understanding is that some of these, you don't get credited back your downtime, right?
Correct.
You're paying a flat rate, $170 a month, $175 for that miner, right?
Regardless.
Yeah. And then you're getting hit with a 92% uptime. It's like, they don't care about it. Yeah, they do care about you, but but when they're getting paid is based on how much that performance is of that machine, then it makes things a little, everybody has a little skin in the game that way. So
what would you say your uptime is at your immersion farm right now, if you were to take a guess off of that?
It was 99.1%.
Wow. Okay. And do you think a lot of that relates to the fact of the immersion with these units versus like air cooling?
Yeah,
100%. Okay.
100%. I feel like it just from, and I don't have a lot of experience with air farms.
Sure.
But I mean, just from what, me and Blake are really good friends.
Yep.
From Musk Miners, and we literally talk 3 times a day, probably on the phone. And that's always his complaint is like, these facilities with their uptimes because of these air units getting high or flows and blah, blah, blah. So, I'm just taking that knowledge that I hear from him because he's so in tune with the industry. But, Yes, so that's our, the simple mining guys. I don't know.
Yeah,
Out
yeah.
here they have great uptime. Real good guys too. So I mean, there's a lot of good people in the industry, and that's what you need to surround yourself with is the guys that can do what they say they're going to do.
Sure.
And
Yep,
in this
100%.
industry, that's a rarity.
Yeah, I get it. All right, guys, we're going to close things out there for tonight. We went almost 2 hours, which was awesome. I will put Ben's Twitter in chat if you guys want to follow him. You're going to reach out
It's
to
not
him.
a fake Twitter either, by the way. I'm just like, I'm going to make, and that's what they suggested, and that's what I did.
There you go.
So.
Yep. Nope. I get it. So, guys, I'll put his Twitter in chat. Go over, follow him, check him out, DM him if you guys have more questions. If you guys are having a hard time getting a hold of him, reach out to me, and I'll get you connected from there. Ben, this was a lot of fun hanging out, talking about the S21, talking about Bitcoin, and more Bitcoin. I think it's good to get some of that insight for my community from more of a mining farm operator perspective, which I think great. We'll definitely have to do this again. It seemed like everybody enjoyed it. Maybe a little closer to the halving, which will be good. We'll see what happens there. But guys, go check out Ben. Other than that, guys, I appreciate you guys coming to hang out with me, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.
All right. Thank y'all. Bye.
See ya.